Hello, welcome to another episode of Ukulele AMA. Today's question comes from my Patreon page from Mark, and he says, "Hi Matt, I'm curious about the ways you arrange music. If you want to write a cover of a song, how do you know which key to choose to ensure that you will have the easiest time playing the song on an uke? I suppose one could try to use the same key as the original, but how else do you decide? Thanks." This is an awesome question, and there's a lot to kind of unpack there, and the answer might kind of surprise you, but there's two main things that we're going to look for. The first is we want to be playing it in a key that's good for the ukulele. So a lot of times people think that the keys of like C, F, and G are for more novice players, and it couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, those are the best keys to play in on the ukulele, and the reason is very simple. When we're doing chord melody arrangements, we're trying to maximize the opportunity that this instrument gives us. And the two biggest weaknesses of this instrument are going to be range, which is the low to high note ratio, and sustain, how long a note will ring. And to offset both of those weaknesses, we have four secret weapons. And those secret weapons are our G, C, E, and A strings being played open. You see, none of these strings can play any lower note than their open form. They can only go higher. And in addition to that, open strings ring longer and better than strings that are closed. The sustain is just better. So the best way to make your ukulele sound awesome with a chord melody arrangement is to utilize these four open strings as much as you can. And in the key of C major, all four of these can remain open depending on the chord that's being played. Same with the key of F major and G major, as well as their relative minors, A minor, D minor, and E minor. Now, as soon as you go to other keys, let's say that you want to play in the key of D major. Well, D major has a C sharp note. And it's not to say that you can't do chord melody arrangements in the key of D major. I've done a few, but that C sharp note means that your C string can't be played open at any point during that arrangement unless it uses a C note for some reason. And that's kind of a bummer because the C string is our lowest string anyways. It's our nice bass note, and if I can't use my open C at any point, I'm kind of prohibiting myself from making the best arrangement I can. On the flip side, if you go to some of the flat keys, like the key of, B flat, for instance, well, B flat has an E flat note in it, which means my E string can't be used open. And that's a bummer because that means that I always have to make sure that that note's fretted depending on the chord that's being played. So those keys of C, F, and G, and again, they're relative minors, tend to be the best to create chord melody arrangements because they give you the most opportunity for the instrument. Now, how I decide which one of those keys to play in from there really goes with where the melody is going to be organized on the fretboard. So if our melody goes something like this, for instance, let's say it's really simple. Let's do a little Beethoven, something like. That's the melody in the key of G major. And that's pretty good on the ukulele because most of it's going to be played on the A string and some of it is going to be played on the E. Now, is that the best key to play it on? Depends what we're looking for. If I do that same melody in the key of C, I could play it either here or I could play it up here. Now, which one of those is better? Well, if I'm doing a chord melody arrangement, playing melody notes on the A string is preferred. And the reason is very simple. It's our highest pitch string, and it's where we want our melody notes to sit whenever we can because it gives us the most opportunity for the lower notes, the G, C, and E strings, to play the chords and harmony underneath. If you listen to this, if I go like. Not a lot of room for harmony to be played there because my melody is on my E string most of the time. I'm not even playing my A at all. It's kind of a bummer. Versus if I did something like this. What does it go to? Something like this. Something like that, right? You can hear that was much better because my melody was on the A string, which allowed my other strings to play the harmony. Now, cycling back to the key of G, it was right here, right? That's a pretty good key too. like that, you can see that that ends up working out really well because it gives me that A melody note, and I can use the other strings for more harmony. So which key is best to do a chord melody? Well, that's a little bit subjective. If I were doing a tutorial and I was trying to make it more for the intermediate player, I would stick to right here with the key of G because it let me go up the A string a bit, but it kept it more narrow on the fretboard. If I were doing an absolute beginner tutorial, I might keep it all down here because it's so much simpler to play less notes. And at the same time, if I were doing a really advanced tutorial, I probably would move it somewhere up the fretboard to make use of even more range on the ukulele and stretch out those voicings. So I hope that's helped answer your question. Basically, the way that I pick what key to play is I try to stick to keys that have my 4 strings open so that I can use them throughout my arrangement. And then I try to find the melody note to where I can keep it on the A string to the best of my ability to have harmony going underneath in the way of chords on the other strings. If you'd like to see your question answered here on Ukulele AMA, feel free to leave it down in the comments below or check out my Patreon page where I occasionally make a post on there asking for what do you guys want to see answered for this week's question. Thanks so much. I'll look forward to hearing from you guys soon, and take it easy.